if he plays for your team, you probably like him, but everybody else hates him because he's a complete knob end. So I thought we'd have a look at other Premier League knob ends and rate them, as in whether you think they're not as bad or worse than. And here we go, episode 3 of Eat My Goal with me, Mike, and him, Dan. Hi, Dan. Good visuals for the audio pod there of the episode 3. Thank you very much for that. So this is Eat My Goal, where we discuss all things Premier League and a hint of Portsmouth FC for a little bit of flavouring, for a bit of seasoning. This week that we will be talking about despicable Premier League players. We'll be looking at our Portsmouth all-time Premier League left back. Dan's got a little quiz, and then we're going to look at some kits. Going to look at some of this season's kits that are on offer from the Premier League side. So let's start with our headlines. So Champions League returned last midweek, with the goal machine Haaland continuing his Premier League goal scoring form. Leicester continue to tumble down the Premier League, and shock horror, Thomas Tuchel was sacked by Chelsea because he only won 3 major trophies in the 20 months that he was there. Clearly not good enough. So just proving that you may change the horrendous ownership of a club, but they still remain very Chelsea-ified. So what's your thoughts on Tuchel? Do you feel that was a just correct decision?
No, I just think it's a bit silly, isn't it? It's 100 games he managed Chelsea in the Premier League, and they've got rid of him. And like you say, 3 major trophies. I just don't know what clubs expect from these people now. I have some stats for you. If you'd like to hear them.
Tuchel?
On Tuchel, yeah.
Okay,
so,
go on. Please do.
First 50 games in charge.
Yeah.
132. Drew 11, lost 7 games.
Okay,
so that's pretty good for the first 50 games.
Not bad. Yeah.
Last 50 games.
Yep.
128, drawn 13, lost 9.
Fairly similar.
Pretty similar. Yeah. The only thing that was worse was the goals against had almost doubled.
Okay.
But I just don't.
Strange decision, isn't it? Typical billionaire owners doing what. They spent £250 million, the record amount for any. Was it 250 million? Yeah, something like that, wasn't it? Over 250 million, and then to sack your manager 4 games in. Very strange. So, what about Potter? Do you think Potter's a good replacement?
I don't know. He's done well. He's done well at Brighton. He's done really well, and they've looked really good this season. But can he do it at Chelsea? It is, and I don't know. It just seems like they are just playing champ man, aren't they? The Chelsea,
yeah, pretty much.
Bosses,
billionaires, champ manager.
Yeah. Let's get Harry Potter in. He'll do something really good for us. Except he won't. I just don't get it. I hope he does well because he seems like a decent bloke. But
he does. But I don't think he'll get the time personally. I think he deserves a big club. I don't think Chelsea is a big club that he deserves. To be fair, I think he won't get more than a year and a half. I think, and expectations will be massive. Okay, and similarly, Brendan Rodgers. What do you think about him? Obviously, Leicester 1 point opening games. He's kind of done a similar sort of thing to my friend Scott Parker, and basically slagged off his manager, his board of directors for not supporting him. But he seems fairly safe. Do you think?
Yeah. Well, he's a class manager, and his teams play very good football. But I think I said a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week? I can't remember. That I thought Leicester would be fine; they'd be all right. But I think the worry is the more it goes on, the longer you stay in that bottom three, the harder it is to get out of it. But I still think they've got too much class, haven't they? That team, surely, have they not, Mike? Have they?
Well, maybe. I don't know. The candidates for being down there, your Fulhams, your Bournemouths, are kind of picking up points, aren't they? So, it's early days, isn't it? But I do think they'll be all right. I don't know. They just got to start scoring some goals, haven't they? They actually look like they're playing some okay football.
Vardy seems to have died. He's just.
I think he didn't. Did he not retire and just not tell anyone?
Yeah,
he's of that sort of age, isn't he? He is that sort of age.
I think he did. I think he put it on his missus's Instagram page.
Oh, did he? Did he not put it on Colleen Rooney?
Yeah,
and said, "Don't tell anyone." Allegedly. Okay, so Diego Costa has moved to Wolves. Surely, if you're a Wolves fan, not that we are Wolves fans, but if you're a Wolves fan, are you happy about that? Would you be accepting of Diego Costa, 33 years old?
33 years old. I don't know. He hasn't played for a while, has he?
Hasn't played since January, no.
Yeah,
and even then he was playing in South America, wasn't he?
Yeah. I don't know whether you know what his stats were, but he played in the Premier League before with Chelsea. But I've just got them.
Did you? Just haven't have them.
Yeah, 89 games.
Yeah.
52 goals.
Oh wow, that's actually a decent return, isn't it?
Yeah. The only problem was the red cards. How many red cards did he get?
All 4.
0.
Really?
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
How many red cards should he have got?
That astonished me more than the 52 goals.
0 red cards?
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about Diego Costa. He's one of those players that I think if he plays for your team, you probably like him, but everybody else hates him because he's a complete knob end. So I thought we'd have a look at other Premier League knob ends and rate them, as in whether you think they're not as bad or worse than Diego Costa. And sticking with the Chelsea
theme, hard
for
me, isn't it? Because I think most people are knob ends. So
I think you'll agree with most of these as well. So we're going to stick with the Chelsea theme to start with. And it took me ages to whittle down Chelsea players. I could have had loads. Could have had people like Dennis Wise in there. Could have Graham Lasso. But John Terry is the one I've gone with.
Oh, okay.
So John Terry, bigger or not as big a dickhead as Diego Costa?
Well, what are we talking about? Are we talking on pitch or off?
Let's a bit of both, I think. So here's some of his highlights. John Terry got suspended just before the Champions League final by kneeing Alexis Sanchez in the back of the thigh on 37 minutes against Barcelona. He was accused of racism, of course, ongoing thing with the Ferdinand brothers. Yeah. And who can forget, wag shagging. So of your own teammates.
Well, I think if we're talking on a Belendry factor from a footballing point of view, I would say Costa is more of a knob end than Terry.
Okay.
But for racism and cheating, Terry wins.
As a general all-round lack of human being. Yeah. Okay, Terry. So sticking again with Chelsea, Ashley Cole. Where did it stand with Ashley Cole? Do you want some Ashley Cole's highlights?
Yeah, go on then.
Obviously, apart from marrying and then multiple alleged cheating on Cheryl Cole, he did at one stage take an air rifle into training and start shooting at the interns for some no apparent reason.
It's just a bit of fun.
And he did also kind of very unacrimoniously leave Arsenal. By running down his contract and jumping ship for a bag load of cash to Chelsea.
Well, again, I think if you're talking off the pitch, then Ashley Cole, because we don't hear many things about Costa, I think Ashley Cole wins that. But on the pitch, I'd have to say Costa again, because still Ashley Cole was we're sticking with Costa.
Okay. This one's going to be a tough one. On and off the pitch.
Yeah.
Joey Barton.
Oh,
Joey Barton.
Just a cock end. It's just a cock end anywhere it is. If it's on the pitch, if it's doing an interview, if it's at home.
Attempting a French accent.
Yeah, attempting a French accent. Yeah, no, he's a fucking bellend.
So the guy wins that on and off the pitch. Do you want to hear some of his highlights?
he's the sort of bloke that would if he ever came across this podcast, if he was ever one of the 10 people that ever watched this podcast, that he would actually send us a message having a go at us. And
yeah, well, that's I think that's an aim for this one. Should we spend the next 20 minutes just talking about Joey Barnes, see if we can rile him up
let's
enough?
do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Well, he obviously his real off-pitch highlight would be the putting a cigar out in one of the younger players' faces when I think he was at Man City at the time.
Yeah,
that's always a good one. Also had a fight with another one of his Man City teammates, Osmane Dabo.
That's
I think that's how it's pronounced. Left him with a couple of black eyes and broken nose. All round nice guy.
All round nice guy. Always the victim. Didn't he batter one of his fellow managers recently as well, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Gave them a crack down the tunnel.
He's nice. That's right. Yes, he's nice like that. So Joey Barnes, I don't know where we go from Joey Barnes, but I've got another couple for you.
What did you say? Sorry, you said something to me about him.
Oh yes,
I don't know what this is.
He was also he was in the Marseille supporters end at Tottenham Hotspur last week, flipping the bird at Spurs fans for some reason. I know he played for Marseille for a little bit, but I don't think he's one of their ultras suddenly, is he?
See, that's the thing with the man. He must be what? How old is he now? 40?
Close to 40, yeah.
So just stop it. Just stop it now.
Just grow up,
turn
mate.
Turn the
just
other
grow
cheek.
up.
Yeah.
So two more. Roy Keane.
Well, Roy Keane's one of those that's done himself huge favours from being a pundit, I think, isn't he? Because he's actually quite. I used to think he was a complete knob, and I still do with some of the things that I see him, some of the old clips that I see him in. But he's actually quite funny. I think he's just very, very dry.
One of my favourite pundits, I would say, Roy Keane. Just tells it how it is, doesn't he? Just tells it how it is. But as a
he should
player,
be in the Big Brother house, shouldn't he? With that sort of.
Oh yes.
I'll just tell it how it is. I'll just tell it how it is.
Oh yeah. Obviously, as a player, I found some interesting highlights. Actually, he once his first red card for Manchester United was for treading on Gareth Southgate's nutsack.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which other highlights include walking out on Ireland just before the 2002 World Cup, and of course, who could forget the career-ending challenge on Erling's father, Alpha Inga Haaland.
And didn't he call Mick McCarthy a cunt? Am I allowed to say that on this podcast? Isn't that why he walked out of Republic of Ireland? He said you're a shit.
Called it to
you're
everyone.
A shit player and you're a shit manager or something. I think was his quote, something like that.
I don't know. That was his quote, was it?
I think so. Yeah, I think it was something like, "Oh, you're a shit player, and now you're a shit manager," and then he went.
Yeah, he certainly said that to Haaland, didn't he? He leant over him and said, "Take that, you see you."
Take that, you. Yeah.
Lovely. So we're getting there. Finally, this is one for the Pompey fans, really. Ben Thatcher.
Oh well,
Ben Thatcher.
That's an arsehole, isn't it? There's just. I mean, what he did against Mendes, knowing what sort of player Mendes was, hardly dirty, and then just to give him a forearm across the face
at 40 miles an hour.
Yeah,
disgraceful. Anyone who hasn't seen that challenge, do look it up. Ben Thatcher on Pedro Mendes. That challenge only got a yellow card as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
only got a yellow card. Yeah. Interesting.
Wouldn't today, would it? Get a red in these days. All the snowflakes.
Well, I don't know.
All the snowflakes in them days, you could do that to people and get away with it.
Depends who's on VAR, I guess. Okay, that leads us nicely into, just because it leads us into Portsmouth, really. But let's talk about Portsmouth's all-time Premier left-back. Last week we started the series with David James, chosen as our goalkeeper. Not what was his name? Harold.
Not Harold Lappenar.
Not Harold Lappenar, no. David James got the nod.
You can see that in this graphic here. David James, number one.
We'll put something together there, and it'll appear here.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. Who's your who we got? Who the contenders?
So we're going for left back. Yeah, we're going for left back. All depends on what sort of formation we're playing. So I guess we're playing 4 at the back, are we?
Yeah, we'll go 4 at the back, and then we'll see how the rest of the formation works out. depending on how many midfielders and strikers we've got.
So I think we've got a definite. We can narrow this down to two, but if I give you a few names, starting off with Gregory Vignal, who actually played 14 times for Pompey in the Premiership.
Did he?
In the Premier
really?
League.
Wow.
So, yeah. Belhaj.
Nadir Belhaj. Yeah.
So 48 Premier League games for Pompey.
Okay.
5 goals.
I thought on his day he was actually all right, wasn't he? But he was a bit of a hothead.
A
bit of a hothead.
Yeah. Herman Hreiderson.
Herman Hreiderson, yes, yeah.
72 games for Pompey in the Premier League, 6 goals. He was a club ledge, I think.
He is a ledge, absolutely.
And then I know we mentioned David Unsworth. Do you know how many appearances he actually made for Pompey in the
Not many, 20 maybe.
Just 15, but 2 goals.
2 goals in 15. Okay.
Both for the both for the penalty spot. And then of course we have Matt Taylor, who, although a lot of the followers of this podcast will be screaming at us saying he's a left midfielder.
No, wing back. He's a wing back.
Yeah, let's say he's a left wing back. Do you know how many appearances?
Well, probably 200
in the Premier League. In the Premier League.
Okay.
So 144.
Okay. And
how many goals?
12 goals. All of them from the halfway line.
16.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the player that whenever they do a volley compilation or best goals of the Premier League compilation, never seems to be on it. And it's like, I'd have sworn that he scored a couple of crackers.
One against Sunderland and one Everton. From Everton practically the halfway line, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so who are you thinking? See, for me, it's down to 2. I'm surprised you didn't mention Andy Griffin, to be fair, but
No, do you know what? I almost said Andy Griffin, but he was classed as a right back.
Oh,
I always thought he was. I thought he was left back, but apparently he was right.
Okay.
So I would say get rid of Vignal, get rid of
Belhaj.
Appearances. So Taylor for Hreiderson, and the fact that Taylor has played double the amount of games than Hreiderson, and I think they're both club legends, but I'd have to go Matt Taylor. I think. Yeah,
Matt Taylor. Let's nail Matt Taylor in. We'll have him. For me, it is close, but I think Hreiderson is more down to personality of the pitch.
Matt Taylor on the graphic. Yeah,
we'll have some sort of sound as well.
Yeah,
there it is. So David James in goal, Matt Taylor left back. What are we doing next week? Then? Right back.
Right back. That's good. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's go right back. Yeah. So join us next week for the Glenn Johnson, the Glenn Johnson competition.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. What listeners and viewers? What do you think? Is Matt Taylor the good choice? What do you think about right back? Please tell us. Okay. Thanks, Dan. That was good. Now it's time for your quiz. I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, it's exciting. It's exciting. Right. This is called Dan's Premier League quiz. Okay.
Did you get a marketing team together to come up with that?
I'm going to ask you 5 questions.
Yeah.
Premier League. Anything.
Okay. Anything Premier League.
It's going to be you're going to get a mark out of 10 at the end, so you can score a maximum of 10 points over these questions.
All right, got it.
Okay, the first question is
it quick fire?
2 players have scored Premier League penalties with both feet. I'm going to give you 4 names. Can you guess which 2 players are the 2 players in question?
Go on. Go on. Yep.
Luis Boamorte, Bobby Zamora, Obafemi Martins, or Adel Tarabt? Which 2 players have scored Premier League goals with both feet?
From the penalty spot. Boamorte and Tarabt.
That's incorrect on both counts. The answer was Bobby Zamora and Obafemi Martins, apparently.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
0 for 2. Good start.
2. Next question. Right. Which player has been substituted the most times in the Premier League? I will give you
Ooh.
4 names.
Going off rather than coming on.
Going off.
Substituted. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, Ryan Giggs, Peter Crouch, Jermaine Defoe, or Lewis Boamorte. This is called the Lewis Boamorte quiz.
Premier League quiz. Is it just one I've got to pick this time?
It's one of them. Ryan Giggs,
Yeah.
Peter Crouch,
It's going to be,
Defoe,
for his longevity, I'm going to say Ryan Giggs, because he was obviously there for most of the Premier League.
Is the correct answer.
Yes.
134 times.
Okay, good.
Are you ready for question 3?
I am.
Which player missed the most penalties in the Premier League? Is it A, Alan Shearer? This one's got these. I've suddenly started to go for A, B, C, and D.
Okay.
A, Alan Shearer. 2, Van Persie. C, Van Nistelrooy, or Robbie Fowler. Shearer, Van Persie, Van Nistelrooy, Robbie Fowler.
When you say miss, just to miss the most out of these 4, not miss the most overall.
No, overall. Overall, this player,
oh, really?
out of those 4, missed the most penalties out of anyone in the Premier League.
Oh, Jesus. Can't be Shearer. Fowler.
It can be Shearer. 11 penalties missed
Shut
by
up.
the Geordie King.
Wow.
As he was known.
Okay.
As he was well known, the Geordie King.
The Geordie King. Right. The Geordie King.
Right, this one. Number 4. I'm going to give you a list of Golden Boot winners.
Okay, yeah.
Of these 7, only 3 won it one time. So I'm going to give you 7 names. You've got to tell me which 3 players only won it once.
Okay,
Golden Boot.
good. Okay? Got it. Yeah.
Michael Owen, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, or Jimmy Floyd Hotchie Bennett, as he was known on Pro Evo. Aguero, Robin van Persie, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Didier Drogba, Andy Cole.
So not Cole. Who was the first one?
Of those 7 players have only won it once. Michael Owen, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, Sergio Aguero, Robin van Persie, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Didier Drogba, Andy Cole.
Okay, so I'm going to go. I've got them again. Who was the second one?
Hasselbank.
Yeah, Hasselbank.
We're going for Hasselbank.
Yeah, go for Hasselbank. I'm going to also go for Drogba and Owen.
Drogba and Owen, you are incorrect on every account. Aguero only won it once. What? In 2014-15, Ruud van Nistelrooy once, 02-03, and Andy Cole once, 93-94.
Shut up.
Unbelievable.
Wow. That was...
okay, so that's 0.
Shocker.
I might as well just stick to
I'm doing well,
right, last one.
Yeah.
Of these list of 7 players, so similar, which 3 were in the top 10 players of most yellow cards? Okay, so I'm going to give you a list of 7 players. Which 3 people out of here were in the top 10 list?
I'm going to write them down this time.
Right, quickly, because we've run out of time.
Go on.
Robbie Savage.
Yeah.
Patrick Vieira.
Yeah.
Scotty Parker.
Yeah.
Paul Scholes.
Yeah.
Glenn Johnson.
Yeah.
Mark Hughes.
Yeah.
And of course, Lewis Boamorte.
Okay. 3 of them are in the top. How many?
Top 10.
Top 10. So you got Savage.
Yeah. That's who you're going for.
Savage is a yes. Yeah. Parker. Just because, and then sorry, and Lewis Boamorte, of course, he's got to be in there somewhere. Although he's not, is he? He hasn't been around long enough.
I can tell you that you've pulled it out of the bag and scored 2 out of 3 on that round.
Okay.
It was Robbie Savage with 87 yellow cards, Scott Parker with 92 yellow cards, and Paul Scholes, obviously.
Oh, Scholes,
99.
I couldn't read my writing with Scholes. I wrote Scholes down so quickly I couldn't read it.
So out of 10, you've scored 1, 2, 4 points.
4 points. Excellent.
And Premier League.
And that is the reason why people tune in every week to watch this insightful football podcast, because we know our stuff. 4 out of 10, 40% of the Premier League, we know.
Yeah. So if you go away with nothing today, or if you
Yeah,
go away with something, it's just the fact that Bobby Zamora scored
scored.
Premier League penalties with both feet.
I think that's very impressive, Bobby. Well
It is
played.
impressive.
Well
And
played. And
possibly,
um, and Luis Boamorte is not the answer to any question.
I always thought he was one of the filthiest players, but apparently not.
No,
Because he was quite filth, wasn't he? I thought,
I
or
absolutely
maybe it
remember.
was
If
red.
you if
Maybe it's
you
red cards.
are you not confusing him with who was old Spitty Face? I can't remember.
Oh, Diouf.
Oh, Juve, Alhouse Juve, yes, yeah. I suppose we best crack on. We've got less than a minute to go. We're not going to be able to do the kits thing because we're running out of time. But we will review the kits next week. We will also look at, and we'll have another true or false quiz, I guess, if we have time for it. But that's it for this week. It's been a quick one, Dan, isn't it?
It
We've had no
has.
internet issues, and we could get cut off at any second because we're into our last final minute now. So we'll say contact us at eatmygoal22 on Twitter or at eatmygoal22@gmail.com and send us some likes. Share the podcast, tell your friends, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.